the game.
Just what's your evaluation been of Connor so far, and what we obviously asked Coach Allen about what made him the guy that won the starting job. What did you particularly like about Connor that makes you feel comfortable about?
I think the biggest thing is, especially on game day, no matter what happens, good, bad, wrong, right, or indifferent, kind of our process. As soon as he comes off the field, he's always going to go to the phone. Like as soon as literally the moment, like sometimes he's calling before I've even had a chance to breathe for a second. It's just no matter what, good, bad, wrong, right, indifferent, wide open guy we miss, something bad happens, something good happens. He's the exact same guy all the time. And they're a lot of people, there's a million different types of leadership. Some people you see Tom Brady yell and scream, and he's a very animated guy on the sideline. And then you see guys that, Eli Manning is really just to themselves. And I think his strength is that he's very even-keeled, and a mistake doesn't rattle him, something good, it really doesn't change his demeanor. So just the fact that he's even-keeled, he can handle success, and he can handle failure, I think is a huge strength for him.
Kind of going off of that, I know it's a small sample size, but he's only taken 1 sack through 2 games, and I know that's kind of part quarterback, part relationship with offensive line, but just what has allowed him, it's not like he hasn't had pressure, but to keep from taking too many sacks here early in the season?
Yeah, I think, like big picture-wise, I think that the quarterback has much more to do with pass protection than a lot of people do. And I don't necessarily mean setting, resetting protections, danger in protections, changing protections. Just at the highest levels of football, you got 285 or less to make good decisions. And it doesn't matter when you play in the Big Ten, you play in the SEC, you play in the NFL. Like when you get to the highest levels of college football, like you don't have as much time as people perceive you to. The old 4 seconds, like you got about 285 to figure it out. And we spend an inordinate amount of time. Like every throw they throw in practice, like there's a timer on it. When they come in and watch their practice film down here on the right, it's going to say 2.97, 2.84, 2.1. Yeah, I mean like. So number one, just them understanding the body clock of decision making. Number two is I think our offensive line has done a tremendous job in pass protection. Now, not that we haven't had hurries, not that we haven't had issues, not that we haven't had some O-line driven quarterback pressures, but they've done a really nice job, coupled with the fact that Connor's done a nice job getting the ball out of his hand. I think number three is one of the biggest ills, especially with young or college level quarterbacks, or once they get past 285, hanging on the football, taking unnecessary sacks. Like we won our first game because Connor threw the ball away in that 2-minute drive. First down from the 5-yard line. They work a twist game. There's an issue. He gets the ball in the stands, which allows us to run draw on second down, which allows us to score from the 1-yard line on third down. Like getting the ball out of your hand and throwing the ball away is a huge part of quarterbacking. And I think he's got 6 throwaways already, in 2 games, but that's a good thing. Obviously we want every one of those to be completions, but, I think that the offensive line has done a nice job in pass protection. We see an unbelievable amount of pressure and twist games from our defense in practice every day, coupled with the fact that Connor's done a nice job of getting the ball out of his hand. I mean, the 1 sack that we have taken was a 3rd and long where you have 2 rules, no turnovers, no sacks, and we took a sack on a 3rd and long that basically gave them 14 yards post-sack, or that gave their offense another first down. So, but our line's done a nice job, and Connor done a nice job getting the ball out of his hand.
Coach, when you first met DJ Matthews, I guess not as much involving football, but just how would you describe him as a person when you first met him?
As a person, really at the end of the day, he's kind of – now, he does not play this way. He does not play with the ball in his hand this way. But he is really a really reserved. He doesn't say a whole lot. He's very inquisitive. Like from a conversation standpoint, like he always wants to know why. He always wants to know how I could do this better. What they're like. He really enjoys the nuance of football. And off the field, with him, he and I are really in the same situation. I've got a 2-year-old and a almost 8-month-old or 8 months really coming up here soon, and he's got a 8-month-old, and so or he's got, a daughter as well. And so we're kind of in the same situation, and that's life-changing as well, and kind of forces you, whether you like it or not, to, change your priorities, and that goes for me and for him. But I would just say reserved, very inquisitive, loves the nuance of football, and is a great dad.
The players kind of bought into that as well and teaching them that core confidence.
Yeah, well, I mean, big picture wise, and I don't want to make this, I'll keep this as short-winded as possible. I played in basically a 3-back backfield, smokestack eye, belly G down, like hammer you offense in high school. I was a little quarterback, and my stat line would probably be about 3 passes a game. And I wasn't very good anyway, so it didn't matter. But we didn't throw the ball very much. And when I went to college at Middle Tennessee State University, we were one of the 3 or 4 wide receiver at all times, 10 personnel, as fast as humanly possible, spread the field. One of the, I guess what you would consider, air raid offenses at the time, because Larry Fedora had been the coordinator, and then Blake Anderson showed up, now the coordinator at Utah State. So I kind of grew up with this, and obviously that was so fun. And the way we played, and again, I was not a very good player, ended up moving to wideout, but just playing in the system, it's fun to play. It's no different than basketball. Like, do you want to walk the ball up the floor and pass 7 times and shoot it with 0 on the shot clock, or do you want to run up and down the floor and have fun? Like, that's what you want to do. You want to run down the floor and have fun. So the style of play, having been a quarterback, a wideout in the system, it gave a bunch of really average college football players a chance to throw the ball at a high level, and then in my coaching career, being with Larry Fedora, being with Blake, coaching with Blake, just this is really all I've ever known, and then from the big wide split family of it, that probably started in about 14 or 15. I think more than anything else, it makes defenses make choices. It makes them kind of play out of character, and so just over my career, it's been truly kind of the air raid mentality. And then as things have evolved, a little more run game and the big wide splits.
Going off that a bit, when you have weather like you had, especially in the first half against Idaho, how challenging does that make play calling, and how much do you kind of have to adjust things when you have a downpour like you did in the first half?
Yeah, no, it's, and I think the biggest thing is just mentally, we did not have now we do wet ball Wednesdays for CQ and RVA, but truly when you got to go out and you got to play in it and you got to take the visors off, there's a rigmarole you have to go through as a wideout to go pitch and catch well. And so, even down to, all right, the ball's really wet. Now the referees are going to change balls every single play and work wet ball mechanics, which is going to damage your tempo. So there's a lot of differences. But I think just mentally more than anything else, just the comfortability. Hey, drive your eyes to the catch point, do all the things that you normally do. Don't be worried that it's wet. Same thing for the quarterbacks. Mentally, there's some things you have to get past, and then same thing, now that when you're an RPO team and you're spread the ball around, you're willing to throw it around, now you got to be smart about how you throw the football, and then they know that, and then so sometimes the box will change in a run game, and there definitely is some differences that really, really, really inclement weather. Now, when we played early in the game, it was a little bit ugly, but after the first 10 minutes or so, it kind of got back to normal, and we just didn't play good. But obviously we went in, talked about it, and came out and played much better. Absolutely. Thank you, guys.